Thank you for joining us for the East Aurora Village Board meeting for June 16, 2025. If you could please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Can I get a roll call, please?
Trustee Lizickis.
Here.
Trustee Cameron.
Here.
Trustee Vijay.
Here.
Trustee Flynn.
Here.
Trustee Raby.
Here.
Trustee Shear. Mayor Mercurio.
Present.
6 present, 1 absent.
Thank you. I get a motion to approve the minutes of the Village Board meeting for June 2nd, 2025.
So moved.
Moved by Steve, second.
Second.
Second by Kristen. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Can I get a motion to approve the payment of abstract for June 16, 2025 for the 2024-2025 year with a total of $12,717.67?
Motion.
Moved by Jeff, second.
Second.
Second by Molly. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Can I get a motion to approve the payment of abstract for June 16, 2025 for the 2025-2026 year with a total of $411,156.70?
1 month.
So moved.
Moved by Molly, second.
Second.
Second by Jeff. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. As our first speakers in communications, there's 2 of these during the meeting, one now and another one at the end. If you have anything you'd like to discuss, anything at all, raise your hand when recognized, come up. Please give us your name and address because we record everything for the general public. And please keep it under 2 minutes if you could, please. Anybody? Nancy?
Thank you. Nancy Smith, 195 Sycamore. Hello, everybody.
Hi. Hello.
I have a really short thing tonight. I just don't know how many of you had a chance to take a peek at something I believe Jesse sent around earlier. So I apologize for the late notice, and Jesse can't be here tonight. He has another commitment. So it's a draft of a tree ordinance and a work permit to go with it. So what we would love is questions, feedback. Hopefully, Chris can take a really sharp look at it and make sure that it's everything you guys want it to be. And I guess my goal is that we can all work together so that when we pop out of this moratorium, we're kind of a third of the way through. Chris was just explaining that this definitely, if it's an ordinance change, would require the month-long publication in the paper and a public hearing. Yeah? Is that right?
It will
Yeah.
require publication and a public hearing.
Right. And approval.
I can't tell you how long it'll take you.
Okay.
Month minimum.
And yeah, so we're kind of looking at, you guys haven't all seen it, so you can't tonight probably ask for that to occur. But if that happens at the next meeting, then I think it takes us pretty close to the end of the moratorium. So I'm just trying to back it out from our deadline so that we can be elegant and graceful and successful at the end of the moratorium. So thank you very
I like
much.
it. It's interesting. You got a space on the permit for the utility
Yes.
applicants as well, and that's
Yes.
Ithaca's, right?
Well,
You modeled
a lot
it
of
after
this came
Ithaca's
from,
permit?
From Ithaca and Jamestown and some others that we looked at. So it was kind of a compilation of different strategies from different communities.
And they have to explain what they're going to do,
Yes.
and we can
then there's
explain
a
what
lot
rules
of-
they have to follow.
That's right, right. Like design guidelines where we say this is what we want, and they can come in and know what we want and make it easy for Jeff not to have to do a lot of extra work. So,
Yeah,
okay,
appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Thanks, Nancy. Again, we just received that. Is the board good with taking a look at it over the next 2 weeks and having Chris take a look at it as well and weigh in?
Yeah. Yeah, that would be great. And thanks again to the tree board for taking the time to do that. They got through a lot of it on Monday night last week and then more through email over the course of the week. So a lot of good work put into it. Be interesting to see what everybody thinks. But thanks for, your respect of our moratorium deadline and all that. Really, that was a lot that got done.
Yeah, thank you for all your hard work, Nancy.
Anyone else
And
want
all.
to speak? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I just said "and all."
Anybody else want to speak on any issues? Holly?
Hi, Holly Macheski, 218 Center Street, East Aurora, New York. Excuse excuse me. Really, I made this poster, which it was going to have thank you cards, because as good as I am at nagging and bothering and coming to every meeting, I'm also thankful that we've gotten to this point and that we have our moratoriums, so now we just have to get the other things stuck into that time frame, which I really don't know that process, but I feel like Nancy said it somehow, and it seems like it's doable in the rest of our days. Is that right? In the rest of our days in the moratorium?
That's the goal.
Seems like.
Yeah, okay. I mean,
I think everybody's being a little cagey. We definitely, when we did the moratorium, put language in there that if we're not quite there at 90 days, we do have the right to extend it. So we don't want to say
Oh,
for
okay.
certain we
Oh,
definitely are going to have it
okay.
on day 90 and not day 92.
okay, I didn't realize that. So I'm going to share this, and what it is it will be a tree that's from Google Maps, and, so that was a couple years ago. Then there's the tree as it stands right now, and then the next thing is the address. And it really tells, I think, what we were successful in stopping, I hope, but not totally yet. So the next time I come, I'll have 2 of these, and I'll have the thank you cards attached. But let me pass it around to you, and then I'll take it back so I can copy it. I can stick it somewhere, too. I'm very excited about this. I didn't know what the positioning was. I can take this off, I can stick it
Okay,
there.
just give it, turn it into Maureen.
You can take
Look good.
it, you can
Stick
stick
it
it
anywhere.
somewhere.
Thanks, Holly.
You're welcome.
All right, anybody else want to speak on any topic? All right, you'll have another chance at the end of the meeting. That closes our first speakers and communications. Moving on to public hearings. Can I get a motion to open a public hearing to consider an application for a special use permit from Christopher Sterlace at 77 Knox Road to operate a B&B in an existing non-conforming owner-occupied two-family dwelling at 7:09 PM?
So moved.
Moved by Grace, second by Steve. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Public hearing is now open. Is the applicant here? You want to say anything?
It's not a bed and breakfast, it's just a short-term rental.
If you could just come up, please.
I don't know if it's a little B&B. It's just for short-term rentals, Airbnb type thing. That's all.
Got it. Anybody have any questions for him while he's up in front of us from the board? We're good? Thanks, Christopher.
Thank you.
Anyone from the public want to comment on this? All right, can I get a motion to close the public hearing at 7:09 PM?
So moved.
Moved by Steve, second.
Second.
Second by Jeff. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. That public hearing is closed. Can I get a motion to open a public hearing to consider an application for a special use permit from Tony Day at 644 Oakwood Ave, General Riley House, to continue to operate as a speakeasy with light food, outdoor seating, and occasional outdoor music?
So moved.
Okay, that's at 7:10 PM. Moved by Steve, second.
Second.
Second by Molly. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Public hearing is now open. Applicant, would you like to speak?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Tony Day, and this is my wife Renee. We're honored to be back in front of you to kind of provide a little bit of additional information. We're excited, and we're in the first 3 weeks of operations, and things have gone really well. We've learned tons, but we've had great fun doing it, and we really love the camaraderie and the atmosphere and the great times people are having. I've learned quite a bit, but we feel that we're all on our way. The last time that I was here, there were some questions about the term occasional. I sent an email to everybody. I hope that link worked. What we're saying is we're looking May to September, no more than 1 or 2 days per week, 60 to 90-minute sessions, starting no earlier than 6, ending no later than 9, a variety of genre. So it's not just one kind of genre. As I told our Deb and Mary, our neighbors next door, would never be hard rock music, and they said good. And as I'm sure most people would. But I think there's just really atmosphere setting and create a nice vibe on the patio. And I think that it'd be well received. So I don't know if there's any other questions that any of you might have regarding our request.
Chris, legally, do you want to comment on us going from occasional to 1 to 2 days a week? I feel like we need something quantifiable, right?
It would be better, yes. If you're going to grant something, you need the word occasional is,
Can we just say
Can we-
more than 2
You can set,
Here-
per week?
So here's my concern,
Can you
right?
do
And it
6 to 9?
involves code, right?
Every
So
day of the
say
week?
they have, any venue, not just you, any venue has music on a Tuesday, and then they do it again on Thursday, and then they have a band on Saturday. Like, you're causing code to now keep track of when a venue is having music to see if they go over the amount of, you know what I'm saying? It's just, enforceability makes it tough. I guess I would feel more comfortable doing like a Friday and Saturday, and if you want anything else, you do a temporary use permit like 42 North does, where they give us a number of dates that they want music over the next 3 months.
Well, I don't see the difference in how you monitor that. So then they're gonna show up every Friday, Saturday and check it out?
They don't have to.
He
They're
says
allowed to
it's
have music
not-
Friday
No,
to
I
Saturday.
know, but if they're allowed to have it twice a week, then they can have it on a Tuesday and then on a Saturday. Or
He's asking for his time to be
Yeah,
6
but-
to 9. Why can't it just be every day 6 to 9? That's not that impeding.
Didn't we do that with the
Riley's. we did.
Riley's?
Yeah.
We did.
It's just challenging when you're building a schedule because you can't guarantee to get the performers
The acts or whatever.
when you want them. So we wanted the flexibility to schedule them in
Right.
as we could get them.
Yeah.
Riley's is
trying
every
to
day.
reduce
I
the
10 to
understand your
9.
vagary
need,
of
but
it.
like all of a sudden
Yeah.
having music 7 days a week and making it obtrusive. I get that completely.
The old owner's permit was acoustic only, closes at 10. I have no problem with every day 6 to 9.
6 to 9 is early.
It's really early.
You don't have a lot of neighbors.
Yeah, I would just say that in an outdoor setting, purely acoustic is challenging. There's almost nobody that doesn't have some small speaker.
I'm not saying that for you, I'm saying that's what the last permit
Oh, okay,
had.
I didn't want people to get the idea there wouldn't be a speaker because it would be hard to hear sometimes, especially if it's windy, but we always
Yeah.
You'll
maintain.
need amplification.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think?
I don't think we need to put the days on there. I'm fine anytime.
Let's say 7 days
As
a
long
week.
as it's,
Yep.
as long as it's done by 9.
Yeah. 7 days a week, 6 to 9. And then
I mean,
you guys will
May
do
to
it as often
September.
as you do it. Right. And if it becomes abusive, we can always
come back and rescind the special use permit.
so, hang on, so they're not asking for 7 days a week,
Right.
right? So we're expanding, I mean, to me, it's a little bit more of a residential area than Riley's. I think the neighbors are a little bit closer, you don't have the train tracks in the middle. Like, there are houses there on Oakwood,
Really only one.
not that far
It's
out.
really one house.
There's only one.
There's the
Which is
one by
our
the
next door
cemetery.
neighbor.
Yeah.
We've spoken 3 times to
Okay.
them because we want to be good neighbors.
Sure.
And coming out the back, you really, there's nothing really residential that you're facing into.
No, not from the
And he
backside.
doesn't have to do music 7 days a week.
Correct.
No, correct,
just
I'm anticipating,
Right. Just that they were saying
right,
occasional music, which
Yes.
we wanted to
I agree.
quantify, and then they came back with 1 to 2 times.
Right.
Which we still need to quantify, right?
Sure.
And they can't give us certain days they want it.
Right.
So the thought is, maybe just do 7 days a week, unless there's certain days
or
you
you
really
do like
don't want music.
Thursday through Saturday.
Yeah, the Sundays, we might try to do some music during the farmer's market that runs until 1, so we wouldn't do it 6 to 9. That's the only potential hiccup on sitting like it. If you just said never later than 9 o'clock, then that would be, work within that time frame.
And it's really going to be Thursdays.
I'm okay with that.
That's fine by me.
All right, we'll talk about it when we make the
Okay.
motion, right? All right. You guys have anything else?
No, we're all good.
All right, that was the only
I just
question
want to
we had,
thank Liz Cassidy. She's been exceedingly patient answering my many, many questions.
right? She is that. She's terrific. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody from the public want to speak on this application? All right. Can I get a motion to close the public hearing at 7:15 PM?
Motion.
Moved by Jeff, second by Steve. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing is closed. I get a motion to open a public hearing to consider an application for a site plan application from Chris Contento, owner of 425, 433 Prospect, to add a balcony to a third-floor apartment over an existing bump-out on the second floor. 7:16 PM. Anybody want to make the motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Moved by Kristen, second.
Second.
Second by Grace. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Public hearing is open. Is the applicant here? Here he is. You want to say anything?
It's just basically, if you look at the building, the existing home before the building was added on to has a slight bump out.
Right now, we have Juliet balconies on 3 of the apartments, but it kind of lends itself to a nice coffee porch, something for 2 chairs and a table. And as we were going through construction, that's when we kind of realized it. So now that we're done, we decided to apply for the permit and get approval, so.
Good, all right, thanks. Anyone have any questions for the applicant? All right, anybody from the public want to speak on this? All right, can I get a motion to close the public hearing at 7:17 PM?
So moved.
Moved by Steve, second by Grace. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Public hearing is closed. I get a motion to open a public hearing at 7:17 PM to consider an application for an amended site plan application by Nathan and Chelsea Root of Left Coast Taco at 54 Elm Street for the reconfiguration of the patio and parking lot, then permanently install the patio at the front of the building.
So moved.
Moved by Grace, second.
Second.
Second by Steve. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Public hearing is open. Is the applicant here? Would they like to speak?
Hi, I'm Chelsea.
Hello.
Hi. At the same time as General Riley House, we would like to ask that you permit us to have music on the patio outdoors no later than 9 PM, if we can add that to the permit as well.
This is for the patio too?
This one's the patio in the parking lot.
This is a site plan application. This isn't a special use permit.
Okay. Explain it to them.
So the site plan is, like, the special use permit is what has the hours that you would have music. So you'd have to amend your special use permit.
Sure, okay.
This is a site plan for the patio. All right.
So is this is a new patio? Because it looked, when I drove by, I thought I saw a patio. So
It's the same, it's the same.
it's the same.
It's not increasing in size or anything?
It did increase in size,
Okay.
No, they did you did the patio before we approved it.
correct.
Oh,
That's what is going on.
What you see is what is in the drawing.
They had approval previously for the temporary patio out front that they had last year.
Anybody have anything else for the applicants? It's just timing as far as putting it in before?
Timing, and it was also the previous owners, the driveway, the parking lot and the patio, everything was in disrepair. It was a dust ball, it was a tripping hazard, and when I could line up the contractors, I could line up the contractors, so we thought we had to do what was
What's best for
necessary.
our business.
All right, any other questions for them?
nope.
All right, thank you. Anyone from the public want to speak on this project? I can't get a motion to close the public hearing at 7:20.
So moved.
Moved by Jeff, second by Grace. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Public hearing is closed. Moving on to official considerations.
Jeff Grace, is that who you?
Yeah, Jeff Grace. I get a motion to approve the application for a special use permit from Christopher Sturlace at 77 Knox Road to operate a B&B in an existing non-conforming owner-occupied two-family dwelling.
So moved.
Moved by Steve, second by Grace. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. I get a motion to approve an application for a special use permit from Tony Day at 644 Oakwood Ave, General Riley House, to continue to operate as a speakeasy with light food, outdoor seating, and occasional outdoor music. Does someone want to amend their motion in some form?
Yeah, I will. So moved with the caveat that music from May to September, no later than 9 PM?
6 to 9 or no later than?
No, because if he wants it during the day,
Do we
then
need a start
Could just
time,
do
though?
that on Sunday.
We didn't do start
That's
times for like
up
Riley's and.
To you,
No.
depends on how much control you want over it.
I'm just saying, what,
Right,
if someone
that's-
starts at 5 AM, shouldn't you have a start time?
What time's the market start?
Starts at 8. We've now
There's
started
7.
earlier.
Pat's right,
11?
there's a noise
So
ordinance.
11 and 9?
11 to 9 PM, 11 a.m. to 9 PM, May through September.
I'm going to say no later than 9 PM. That's what many of our other permits say. They don't
Yeah,
have a start
no
time.
start time.
There's a noise ordinance, so people aren't going to start that early.
That leaves it open on Sunday.
Correct.
Chris?
Okay.
Well, which motion is on the floor?
Sorry,
Well,
Mike.
give us
That's okay.
guidance on how it should be worded.
It should, certainly, I think everyone's in agreement that not the 9 PM ending time. It's a question of the start time. As I'm hearing it, there's one more flexible concept and one that would have it starting at a particular time in terms of enforcement, in terms of predictability, having a set starting time potentially is more beneficial than you don't have to worry about. Yeah, 5 AM is the start of the day.
So however you want to do it, Molly, you have a motion.
There is a noise ordinance in the village. But, sorry, Mike.
No, that's okay.
Go ahead. I can tell you some of the permits we already have in place, if you would like that information. Riley's is not to exceed 10 PM. The existing, or Elm Street Baker is acoustic only, closed at 10 PM. Bank, Misters, no. Main and Hamlin has 1 and 2 acoustic not to exceed 10 PM. Rookies, 1 and
What's
2
the-
acoustic not.
Yeah, but they're all
those are all
asking
acoustic.
for, you're mentioning nighttime. I think the question is when.
Yeah,
do
but they
those
just say not
start?
to exceed. They don't have start times. That's all it says for their music permits.
What's the downside to a start time? I'm just asking. I'm not.
I just think we
I'm
have a
not buying
noise
it either way.
ordinance, so
Just for
does it really
consistency?
matter? Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
the
they're-
special use permit would
What are the
make the
business
noise
hours,
ordinance
though?
non-existent. I mean, no offense,
supersedes it.
not, well, if they have a special use
It
permit to have
supersedes.
music, the noise ordinance doesn't pertain, because if you have amplified music without a special use permit and it goes across property lines, it's violated. So, just in my opinion, if you do it without a start time, and perhaps all the rest, nobody thought about this, but they could start having music at midnight and play until 9 PM. They could, if there was just a stop time at 9 PM.
I don't get the downside to having a start time.
Okay. Go ahead.
So I'm going to stick with my original, with music allowed from May to September, no later than 9 PM.
All right, moved by Molly,
Second.
second by Jeff. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Can I get a motion to approve a determination of non-significance under the State Environmental Quality Review Act in the matter of site plan application for a site plan application? Doubled up here. All right. Can I get a motion to approve a determination of non-significance under the State Environmental Quality Review Act in the matter of a site plan application for Chris Contento, owner of 425, 433 Prospect Ave, to add a balcony to a third-floor apartment over an existing bump out on the second floor?
So moved.
Moved by Kristen, second.
Second.
Second by Grace. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Can I get a motion to approve an application for a site plan from Chris Contento, owner of 425, 433 Prospect Ave, to add a balcony to a third-floor apartment over an existing bump out on the second floor?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Grace, second by Steve. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Can I get a motion to approve a determination of non-significance under seeker in the matter of a site plan application for a site plan application from Nathan and Chelsea Root of Left Coast Taco at 54 Elm Street for the reconfiguration of the patio and parking lot, then permanently install the patio at the front of the building?
So moved.
Moved by Grace, second.
Second.
Second by Steve. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Can I get a motion to approve an application for an amended site plan application, Nathan and Chelsea Root of Left Coast Taco at 54 Elm Street, for the reconfiguration of the patio and parking lot, then permanently install the patio at the front of the building?
Motion.
Moved by Jeff, second.
Second.
Second by Steve. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. I get a motion to refer to the Planning Commission, July 1st, 2025, a special use permit application from James Boglioli of Benderson Development for Five Below at 123 Gray Street. The proposal is for staging merchandise outside of their storefront for sale.
So moved.
Moved by Grace, second.
Second.
Second by Molly. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Referred to the July 1st Planning Commission meeting. Can I get a motion to refer to the Planning Commission for July 1st, 2025, a site plan application from James Boglioli of Benderson Development at 123 Gray Street to relocate an existing exterior door on the west side of Starbucks to the north to accommodate the layout and landscaping on Gray Street.
So moved.
Moved by Kristen, second.
Second.
Second by Grace. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved, referred to the Planning Commission for July 1st. Can I get a motion to refer to the Planning Commission for July 1st, 2025, a minor subdivision application from Aaron Romanowski of Alliance Homes at 0 Pine Street for a vacant parcel to request it to be subdivided and construct 3 single-family dwellings?
So moved.
Moved by Steve, second.
Second.
Second by Kristen. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Approved by the July 1st Planning Commission meeting. Can I get a motion to refer to the Planning Commission for July 1st, 2025, an amended special use application from Feng Lin of Tuca at 60 Buffalo Road to remove the existing kitchen from the old Wild Ginger location and connect this space with Tuca?
So moved.
Moved by Steve, second.
Second.
Second by Grace. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved? Can I get a motion to approve a temporary use permit from Ben Holmes? Am I saying that right? Ben Holmes, Ben, of Wallen Wines for the Cheryl Kasperzak for Foundation fundraiser on July 12th, 2025, from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Motion. Second.
Moved by Jeff, second by Steve. Further discussion? Pat? Give us your 2 cents, please.
Yeah, so I've spoken with Mr. Holmes of Lawn Wines and the event, the person organizing the event at Lawn Wines there. The request in the permit does request some road closure there, be basically from Lawn Wines parking lot to the intersection of Elm and Oakwood. I spoke with with Mr. Holmes this afternoon for his intentions. His intentions there are just to make that area more safe for pedestrians and alleviate the need of a crossing guard or police officer there to man a crosswalk. I believe this event is expecting 400 to 500 people, and that'll just create a little bit of a safety barrier there, and I don't have any issues with it.
Is it blocking the Elm Street driveway
It would block that
exit?
Elm Street.
That section of road would be closed in front of it, but the
That's
entrance
a
would be
one-way
blocked.
out.
They couldn't go anywhere, though.
They would go in and out the same spot, so.
On Elm.
What's that?
On Elm Street.
On Elm Street, correct, yeah. This is a Saturday afternoon event, Saturday evening.
Okay.
The easement's a one-way easement.
Yeah, between the building.
Yeah. So
Okay.
Pat, you're planning on water barriers along the edge of Elm across Oakwood, right, by the front door of Wally's? And then another set of water barriers at the end of Wallen Wine's property going across Oakwood?
Correct.
And then maybe like a sawhorse down by the hotel just saying road closed to local traffic only?
Yeah, I recommended they send letters to the residents there advising that they would have access to their homes,
That's a good idea.
but that would be not, there wouldn't be
And then
through
Chain
traffic.
link fence down in between the sidewalk and the Wally's building, or between the sidewalk and the right-of-way, or?
I'll refer to Ben on the chain link fence. I'm not sure what type of fencing he had in mind, but he does have a fence in mind for that. As far as that easement goes, the road closure might have to be reworked to allow for traffic to
I
leave.
think it would be easy enough to just move it up in front.
It's just for us, it's not really an issue, we can reverse the easement, but Elm Street operating, I don't know.
Could you just move the water barriers to before their driveway?
Yeah, we
At
could
your
probably
parking
do
lot
that.
side?
That would probably give enough room just for
Yeah, just so they
crossing.
can get out.
That gives you the width of your parking lot.
Yeah, even if we put it at an angle or something.
Yeah.
I'm sure we can come up with something that's feasible.
Flexible, because you don't just need it. I just wanted to point out that that's generally.
And then fencing, typically what I do, obviously, music festival, or music fest there, the Heart of Music Festival, a little different. That I think we want a little more secure. I'm going to go back to what we typically do, which is just the orange snow fencing. right there, and I would have it up against my sidewalk. I have to do that regardless, just for the SOA liquor license. I have to have it, just one entrance,
Okay.
exit for that. But that would be my plan. I don't think it needs to be as secure as a couple Saturdays ago, so that was kind of the plan.
And the stage is where?
I think we're going to do a similar setup to how we had it before. I got some feedback to have the stage at the road amplifying towards Village Play.
Yep.
As opposed to back. That seemed to be a pretty good setup. So I think I'm going to replicate that.
Yep.
Very good. All right. Anyone have any other questions for Ben? Thank you, Ben.
Thank you.
Pat, anything else to add?
I think just, maybe reducing down that closure to the width of the parking lot and not the width of the restaurant property is doable.
All right, moved by Jeff, second by Steve. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Excuse me, approved. Congratulations. I get a motion to approve a Hamlin Park temporary use permit for Jim Anderson of Edward Jones to have a picnic for clients and their families on August 13th, 2025, from 5 to 8 p.m. with live music.
So moved.
Moved by Molly, second.
Second.
Second by Jeff. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Can I get a motion for permission for the mayor to sign a certificate of incorporation for the social club of the Village Fire Department, which will be known as the Village of East Aurora Volunteer Fire Department?
So moved.
Moved by Kristen. Second.
Second.
Second by Steve. Further discussion? I don't, from what I understand, there isn't any real urgency with this. Do we want Aaron to come in and kind of tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah.
That would be great.
Yeah, before we do this.
So now motion's on the table, Chris.
Well, now someone has to make a motion to table the motion that's on the table.
Anybody like to table that motion?
Yes.
Tabled by Molly.
Well, and now you need a second to the tabling motion.
Right.
Second.
Second by Jeff. Further discussion on tabling it? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. The issue is tabled. That's M. N, can I get a motion for permission to advertise for the 2025 police car bid, one SUV and one pickup truck?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Jeff, second by Kristen. Further discussion? Pat, the benefits of a pickup instead of an SUV?
Yeah, so a lot of the agencies in the area have one. It's nothing you want to outfit your entire fleet with, but certain things we do have a need for cargo room. Picking up bicycles, posting for special events. The posts don't fit in the Explorers. A few of our cars currently have holes pointing in the seats and things like that. Our speed monitoring devices are the electronic signs that go at the end of each end of Main Street for our special events. The legs of the stands hang out the window when we go to put them up. So a pickup truck bed would definitely assist us greatly with things like that. And as it is currently, like right now, if we find a bike, we cram it in the back of the car the best we can and drive down the road with the door open, or if the DPW is working, they go get it for us. So it won't be used 24/7. It'll be used as needed, and I expect it to last longer than other vehicles in the fleet as well.
So it'll be not a regular patrol vehicle, but you'll use it for that if you need to?
It will be equipped to be one, but supervision will be advised that it's not a shiny new toy and it won't be driven 24/7.
And the cost to outfit it versus moving the SUV stuff we already have?
Well, some of that stuff doesn't fit. Anything that fits, the mechanics tell me can be moved, will be moved. And that was budgeted for.
Any additional cage or whatever that we need to purchase?
Correct.
It's already in the budget?
Yeah, the
I remember
current
we had
light,
this discussion during the budget.
yeah, the current lighting will fit on it. The only thing that may not be transferable is the cage that separates the front seat from the back seat.
All right. Moved by Jeff, second by Kristen. Any other discussion from the board? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. I got a motion to approve a budget modification for the 2025-2026 fiscal year.
So moved.
Moved by Kristen, second.
Second.
Jeff?
What's the explanation?
Further discussion? Steve?
Yeah, I was curious what the modifications are.
This
The
is,
computer, right?
this is
Yeah.
to buy the computer, and they're using the funds from the drug seizure money. And ultimately, the police chief gets to decide how that money is spent. But because it has to be added into the budget, it has to come through a resolution for you guys to modify the budget.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Moved by Kristen, second by Jeff. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. New business, 30-day liquor license, 634 Main Street Taste Bistro. Maureen?
This is just, they've asked for their 30-day, we got the 30-day notice. If anybody has an issue with Taste Bistro getting a liquor license, they'd have to let me know so I can get that out. We've had the application for a little bit between last meeting and this meeting, so if you could let me know by tomorrow if anybody has an issue with it. I did not hear anything from the police department that they had an issue, so.
Okay. We don't need to approve it, we just need to let the SLA know if we have a concern.
concern.
Yeah. That might affect their decision. Anybody have any concern? We're all good with taste, serving alcohol? All right. B, discuss an application for a temporary use permit for Left Coast Taco from Chelsea Route, 54 Elm Street, to run an indoor-outdoor arcade from June 14th to October 1st, 2025. Who wants to talk about that first? Maureen, Chris, Liz?
I can talk about it. What?
Liz would be,
Okay.
I don't have the application, but I can talk about temporary use permits in general. In a plain reading of the code of the temporary use permits, section 285-52.8, it does say that uses requiring the issuance of a temporary use permit by the village board include but are not limited to the following. And then it details public or private events or sales that are going on a particular property. Because of that phrase, including but not limited to, is the reason why I suggested to the Left Coast Taco people that while they're in the process of getting drawings to potentially connect this container to the building, which would then they'd be able to amend their site plan, that they could apply for a temporary use permit for this container for a defined period of time while they finalize all of that information.
makes sense.
So basically, it's what, it's a storage container, right? Full-size, semi-size storage container. Okay, you want to come up and tell us about it? Just make sure everybody's got a good handle on it.
So the idea is to add in a 8x20 shipping container onto the back of Left Coast where there was already approval for in the past. It's going to be nicely decked out, filled with old school arcade games, so families can hang out in the back a little bit further away from the parking lot and whatnot.
You guys are looking for us to approve a temporary use permit to get you through the summer,
Correct.
and then how long is it going, what's involved with actually attaching it to the
Well,
building?
The temporary use is because we had applied and were pulled off at the planning board, so we were delayed. But now that everything is cleared up, we realize that a new site plan with it attached to the building, according to Liz, will put us in as code. The problem was that there's no indoor amusement in a new build. There was a little mix-up there because there was already a container on the site, and it caused some confusion because we're going to move it over. But this would be, to get it open during the summer so people can enjoy it, like a community activation, and then we can resubmit and attached to the building, hopefully in even more of a permanent fashion. The idea was kind of just seasonal, and then upon learning that it needs to be attached anyways, we said, why don't we go a bit further, we'll select new site plans and kind of make a pass-through from the building into the container.
And then apply to amend your special use permit.
Exactly.
Get it all done that way. So you're not going to come back next June for another temporary use permit?
No, this is to get us through, and then if we don't make it by October, our date, will close it down and continue our permit to seeking of the permit. But yeah, be to amend the site plan and special use permit, correct? Yeah.
Makes sense.
Now, who determined that it's indoor entertainment? Is that the code?
Yeah, if you look at the definitions of indoor entertainment, arcade is listed
Yeah.
specifically in there. But even if it wasn't, that's what it would fall under.
Escape room, arcade, were like the two little liner notes, basically.
But the business itself wouldn't be classified as entertainment, correct?
I'm sorry?
The business itself as a whole would not be classified as an entertainment venue.
You mean Left Coast Taco? No.
So if this is just an add-on to their business, how does that get classified as an entertainment business then?
Well, if it's
So
attached,
it's a use
I guess-
it wouldn't be.
That's what I've been trying to sort of work out, is how this is different from like Mister's.
Yeah.
Where there are a
Well,
ton
that
of
might actually be
arcades.
entertainment because it's bowling alley. But
Well-
like throwing dartboards or whatever, or pool, does that make it an entertainment?
No, I think the difference in, even the difference in Mister's is that Mister's was established as a bowling alley and they had the arcade games in there in the middle. And so that, I mean, everybody knew going in that's what it was.
Right.
And for that particularly, we accommodated parking for those additional uses as well. This is a new use to this property that complements their existing, but isn't the same. So that's,
Okay.
so we look at, if we have multiple uses on a property, we look at all of the individual uses together.
Okay.
Thank you.
You guys want to add anything? Chris, Maureen?
I will. I don't, if I correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Mister's all wholly enclosed within the building? Okay, this is a separate detached storage container, which is not part of the building. And we have a slight disagreement on the interpretation of a temporary use permit. Because traditionally when this, at least since I've been here, when the board has talked about temporary use permits, they've talked about maybe, 3 or 4 or 5 events over a period of time, as opposed to basically running a business 7 days a week
Oh, on a daily basis.
for 4 months.
Yeah, gotcha.
And so the question is that really what you consider? And it's up to the board. The board can say, we consider that to be a temporary use permit because it's for a period of 4 months as opposed to year-round. And that's certainly within your prerogative, because the code
Yeah, the code.
does make,
Sorry.
you'll have a chance.
Sorry.
The code does make reference, just states that the dates of use must be presented as part of the application which was done. So there's a beginning and ending date. Again, it really boils down, that's issue number 1. Is this what you want to consider to be a temporary use? Something every day of the week over 4 months, as opposed to a business operation. Number 2, the code also requires that it deals, if you look at subsection 52.8A1B, it states that a temporary use permit is required for public or private sales or events that are proposed to be conducted over a period of 1 or 2 days consecutively. That is not an either or, that is something which is part of getting the temporary use permit. Yes, it's going to be more than 2 days consecutively, but does this fall within the terms of what would be considered a public or private sale or event?
Does this have but not
It's a
limited to,
business.
or no?
Pardon?
Does it have but not limited to in it?
It does under 52A1, right above that. It says include but are not limited to public or private sales
But
or
the,
events.
yeah, but the other provisions in there apply to other things. not this type of event. This isn't an event, it's not a sale, it's a business. And again,
Temporary
it's the desire of the board to interpret the code in that way, because ultimately, while it's true that the code enforcement office makes initial interpretations, the determination of whether you have a special use permit or a temporary use permit still rests with this board. So however you want to come down, just be aware how you come down and how it will be applied in the future.
I was going to say, what kind of precedent does it set for us?
You're
And
saying
we still
that
get to look at each one individually, right?
Right, but now you're saying basically a temporary special use permit, yeah, it can be okay for running a business for every day for 4 months, or B, it can be running for business. It doesn't have to be a sidewalk sale. It doesn't have to be, a concert 4 times over the span of the summer. I remember you had it with the concert, although the building owner had a little issue with it, for the food co-op. They were going to have the band there. They were talking about a temporary use permit, admittedly for the summer, but it was for like 8 specified dates. And the board discussed in that type of context. Again, this is not that. It is running a business. But again, that's the board's decision.
It's only going to be accessible when you're open, right?
Right.
It's not going to be accessible outside of those business hours, and it's to enhance your current business. It's not an additional business.
Correct.
It's more of a community activation project, honestly. I mean, it is technically part of the business, yes, but it is all 50-cent, 25-cent play. It's not.
It's amusement for your current customers.
Yeah,
Do you
it's,
see,
I
like,
can't
kids-
take my kids to
Do you
miss.
see kids using it while the parents are
That's exactly
eating
it.
or whatever?
It's just
Family entertainment.
It's a passion project more so. It's just a, we call it like the club, basically. Like, it's a fun place for kids to gather. I talked to Gary at the Boys and Girls Club about like possibly doing some programming if it happens, just more of a community activity.
I get it. I remember going to, was it Fontana's, which became Don's Spaghetti House when I was a kid with my parents and my grandmother, and we'd eat, and then the kids would get all restless. The parents wanted to just hang out and talk, so they'd give us quarters and we'd go play Miss Pac-Man on that table game. And we'd come back and my grandma would be like, "What'd you win?" Like, "Oh, Grandma, you don't get it."
I set the record on the Miss Pac-Man at Libby's until it closed. Yeah.
Liz, can I ask a question?
Basement.
What was the reason for pulling the special use permit originally from planning?
So there's a footnote in the table for allowable uses in the neighborhood commercial district that stated that a indoor entertainment has to be within the existing footprint of the building. And I missed that footnote.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this would be a temporary use for a building we know is going through the proper channels to get the right special use permit. They had their permit pulled. They could have had this all approved tonight with their, it was at the same schedule as the other one we just approved with Left Coast Taco. So I think, in my opinion, this is temporary because there's a start and an end date
Just
for
a
when it
bridge.
is.
Yep, it's a bridge.
And then I have an additional question. When the village reads out for code interpretation to the attorney, do we pay for that every time?
No.
No, it's part of the retainer.
Okay.
Do we need a motion on that?
So yeah, what action do we need to take to move this forward? Or to act on it?
Someone has to make a motion.
Motion.
One way or the other.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Approve what? Temporary use permit?
Approve the temporary
It's
use
written.
permit for Left Coast Taco. Yep,
June 14 to October 1, 2025?
correct.
I'll second that.
Second by Steve. Further discussion?
I understand the fix for it, and I understand that there's some fix that, I understand why we're looking for some fix. I am concerned about this application of a temporary use permit. I don't think it's really what it's for, but I don't have another alternative in mind for how you bridge that sort of
I
gap.
think the solution would be to update that code.
Right, but in terms of things that we can do tonight,
Right.
right?
I don't think
But
there's one.
I don't, yeah, I don't love that use of
Outside
the
of
temporary use
making them
permit
not
just because
use it
it's,
until next year.
right.
Yeah. All right. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay. I will be in to play the arcade, though.
Motion passes. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can I get a motion to discuss, oh, no. This is new business. Discuss possibly setting a public hearing to review the special use permit for Ariba Tortilla, 40 Riley Street, due to a violation of said permit. So, who wants to talk about this? Liz, you want to start?
Sure. During Music Fest, it was brought to my attention that Ariba had a bar and music and a tent set out in front of their business, for which they're not approved. And so I sent them a letter just saying that, requesting that they come in and talk to you about what happened. And then you have the ability to set a public hearing to potentially revoke their permit after that.
And that's the natural process, right? I mean, we can't just levy a fine for $200 or something. We
No,
have to,
due process, you have
Due
to
process.
have a public, you have to have a hearing if that is if you want to follow through on the violation.
but our violation options are revoking their permit. What else? Is there anything less nuclear than that?
There's nothing else that I read in the code.
I don't believe there's any other option in the
Right.
code, but I would have to look at that.
Okay. I remember we did it with, with rookies, right? They were serving.
We brought
lays.
them in.
Right?
Yeah.
They came in,
Issues.
yep.
So we did have that hearing, they came before the board, we expressed our concerns, and Mike agreed to change his ways, and as far as I know, he has followed through. I'd like to hear from the applicant, or from the business owner. You want to come on up and tell us what happened, please?
Good evening. Kelly Jones from Ariba Tortilla. All right, so last year we were setting up a tent and Pat came along and said, you got a permit for the tent. And I didn't understand, didn't know that I needed a permit for the tent. So we took it down. So this year, and that was like this big 20 by 40 tent. This year, I just put up a little shade tent over top of my cooks so that they wouldn't burn their heads. So I didn't realize that that was not what we meant by tent.
I didn't see it, is it like a 10 by 10, like at a tailgate?
Yeah, and it was not
Collapsible?
like for patrons or anything. It was really just to cover my employees. So I apologize. I thought when you meant a tent, I meant like the big 40 by 20 tent. I surely didn't think that that was an issue. Music Fest has been going on for 10 years. Or more, whatever it is. And it has been growing and growing. And through the years, it has gotten so big that we couldn't handle the volumes of people that would come out. So we started serving up tacos on the street, and so we proceeded to do the same thing this year. Volumes weren't nearly as large this year, so, really didn't even need to do that. So, I mean, we didn't mean to, not get involved with the program. As a matter of fact, I've got a large parking lot. I would have loved to have been a vendor with music, but I didn't even know that we were having Music Fest this year, or part of music, excuse me. And I didn't know the appropriate, who was even doing it, because the people that originally ran it, they stopped doing it, right? So I didn't even know. I was busy with Cinco de Mayo and a lot of other things. Then it was brought to my attention that they were doing the Heart of Music. So I was like, great, let's prepare ourselves, because years past has proven that it's a huge event here in town. And it's great. I mean, it's been very successful. The first couple of years were rough, right? But as the years went on, we've had more organization. Everything has run smoothly through the years. And so it's really been great for the whole community, I think, for all of the bars and restaurants and people involved. So if I could actually be more involved, that'd be great. So
if they do it again next year, you'd be interested in being one of the member venues?
Yeah, that'd be great. If we get there.
So the applicants are always put, the applications are always put on our website for the events. You can always call our office for the events, and the contact person who runs the event, their information, their email, and their phone number are on both the applications, so you can always get that information.
I apologize, I didn't know. So
You need to spend more time on the village website, I guess,
I should spend more time on the village website, yeah.
instead of running your business.
Right.
Yeah. So, anyone else on the board have any questions for Kelly? No. All right.
I guess I just reiterate, if he doesn't get involved in it, no tent, no music, no whatever. I mean,
Sure.
to be clear as day, so
But if
next
he-
time it doesn't happen.
Yeah, understood. And I definitely don't want to break any rules. You know, I want to work with everybody here in the community, and I'd rather be a part of it and make it better than to not be a part of it. And you know, I'm not trying to do my own thing by any means. I'm definitely not trying to break any rules, right? You know, like I said, it's been a program that has been very successful and has been getting, I mean, people, you know, a lot of people come from all around to go to this, and it's really kind of put us on the map as being a place of like a great music and stuff. So if I could actually be more involved, that is great.
Yeah.
So, the question, thank you, Kelly. The question is, does the board have any interest in holding a special use permit hearing for Arriba Tortilla?
No.
I think we heard everything.
Yeah, I think we've had the conversation.
Got the message across? We're good?
Yeah.
All right. Chris, did you want to add anything?
No, that's a board decision. And I don't know the sites that, maybe the chief, I didn't observe anything, so maybe the chief has something he wants to add.
Well, last year, it was a larger tent, as he indicated, and he was advised at that time that it was blocking vehicular traffic, emergency vehicular traffic, and that it couldn't exist without a permit. I believe at the time he was given some sort of leniency to continue business that day with a stern warning. I was hoping that between then and this year, he would inquire as to what he needed to do to be permitted for that day. The one thing I will say, while you can stand up and say, I didn't know, I think he's had a liquor license long enough to know that he probably shouldn't have had a bar outside set up serving liquor, because I believe that was in fact against the liquor license. But I can't quote that. I don't know for sure.
Just for clarity, was the tent just covering his employees, or was?
I don't even remember a tent that day. I could go back through my phone and look at the picture. The tent was really irrelevant. It was the fact that there was a bar set up and tables and chairs in the parking lot outside.
Oh. Yeah.
Liz, anything to add? You need a minute?
No, I was trying to see my photos and I don't have them on the phone, so I think I downloaded them to my computer already. Well, I mean, I don't have I'm not the regulatory authority for liquor law, for liquor, so I can't say anything about that. And I don't remember seeing the tables and chairs, but that doesn't mean anything.
There wasn't a large footprint. It was just the fact that last year we reiterated you need to have a permit to have something out front of your business.
And it is true that you would need to have a special permit from the SLA to sell alcohol outside. Then any of the other bar owners that do events like that will tell you that they need a letter from the village or the police department to the SLA saying they have permission to have a bar outside, that we're aware of it, and that we're okay with it.
Okay. And it sounds like he's interested in becoming part of the event next year. So then it'll just be between him and the SLA on whether he tries to sell liquor outside, right? Okay, anything change on my initial question for the board?
I think this is a clear warning for next year, and
Yep.
go from there.
Agreed.
Almost done.
All right, let's see. Discuss possibly setting a public hearing to review the special use permit for Left Coast Taco, 54 Elm Street, due to a violation of said permit. You want to come up, tell us your side of it? Nate and Chelsea?
Go ahead.
Okay. So we weren't asked to participate in it. Our street was closed down, and we're only limited so many nice Saturdays in this town, so we made the most of it. We did have a DJ on our property. I secured the entire outside with snow fencing and barriers, and I hired a guard card certified security guard up front, checking IDs, and everything was contained. And we were only playing music between 2 and 6 with the DJ. I talked with our neighbors to make sure that I didn't interfere with any of their music or we weren't too loud, and we were also done by 6 o'clock.
This is, in my mind, a different case. Like, I understand their situation, their street is closed down, people can't access their building. Next year, maybe they come in for a permit, or they have music approved on their special use permit.
Thoughts on next year?
Thoughts on next year?
In all honesty,
Can we get a special use permit without being a part of Music Fest? Can we have with someone being a part of Music Fest next door? Can we also have a different one?
You can apply for it.
It's case by case, yeah.
Case by case, okay.
I guess my question, and I don't mean to interrupt, but in enforcing this, it was explained to me that the board's position is that you will not hear a permit on that day if it's not Music Fest. And I'm not sure of the legalities behind that. And if that really is board practice, that you'll tell everybody else in town, if you're not part of Music Fest, you won't hear our permit. Because it's my understanding they came in 2 weeks prior to the event and started to make the application to have music that day, and were advised the board will not authorize a permit on that day.
I did that 2 years
That was-
ago.
yeah, we did that 2
Not
years ago.
last year, because we were out of town last year.
Did you ask permission this year beforehand?
We did not. No,
That's what
we
was,
didn't.
that was
But we-
explained to me, that you had, and that you defied being told no.
I think that was confused with 2 years ago, because when we got denied 2 years ago, we just used the DJ like we did this year, and with no issues.
So you didn't ask this year and then just say, we're doing it anyhow?
No, we didn't. No, I don't.
Okay.
want it to be misleading.
Then I stand corrected.
Yeah, I think this is a different issue. They're blocked in.
You get a lot of pedestrian traffic going by,
Right.
but you can't, if you're not part of it,
Right.
people can't bring their drinks in. So if somebody's walking by with a drink in their hand, right, is that right? Legally, they can't go in?
No,
That's why we have security up there,
Yeah.
even people that came in with water, he made them dump it out and
because
then
we have water
refill
that
it
they
in
can
our.
refill it.
The
People
other
can't bring
vendors weren't
drinks
letting
into any
outside
of it.
drinks in either.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I was by there a couple times and it was pretty secure.
I think them as business owners are trying to do everything right for us.
Yeah, we
and-
don't want to be a part of Music Fest.
We really don't want to be a part of Music Fest.
But
We-
we're
we-
held to,
We kind of, like we
What
said,
you choose to do.
there's only so many Saturdays, especially coming after like a wet spring, a long winter. Like, we have to do what we can do. And ideally, Music Fest wouldn't impact us, but unfortunately, we're kind of held hostage to be a part of it.
And I think we
begrudgingly.
could make the argument that businesses that are completely blocked off for that day could submit another application for us to at least look at.
To block off the car traffic.
Yeah.
Or if they got a special use permit to have music
All the
for certain
time,
hours.
anytime.
Right.
Throughout the year.
It might not even be a problem. Yeah.
If you could include that in your everydays.
Well, we just gave one to Tony, so
Right.
from May to October, so that would be during that.
yeah, and I requested that, so I'll do a special use, temporary use permit.
No, amended, special use permit.
An amended special use permit, okay.
Liz will set you up on the right track.
All right, so at this point, we're going to wait and see what they apply for next year? All right?
Yep.
Is there any will from the board to have them come back for a special use permit review hearing?
No.
No.
No, I don't think we have to do that.
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to old business, Church Street water line under the bridge. Jeff?
Yeah, so we got a couple bids out for that. The company that's doing the bridge for the town actually came in the lowest. We're going to buy all the material to keep that under that 35,000 mark. And I think it came to 33,000 to get that installed.
It's probably less chance for mix-ups too, right? If
Yeah, I
people
think
doing the bridge or doing the water?
Yeah, they're right there. They got equipment. Anybody else would have to bring equipment in, coordinate, all that stuff, so.
Excuse me, anybody have any questions for Jeff?
Is that one getting done this year too?
Which one?
Church.
That's the one we're talking about.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
they're gonna replace it this year?
yeah, it's going to be end of July. We'll be doing it.
Great.
All right, thanks, Jeff.
You're welcome.
Discuss a meeting for Heart of Music follow-up. Shane? Put together.
Yeah, there seemed to be some interest in having a debrief meeting regarding it.
Absolutely. I think while it's fresh, there's just so many moving parts, and every year something new comes up that we have to change or tweak or switch. So I think we definitely want to get together. I know Jeff talked about it. The Heart of Music organizers, representative from our fire department, our police, DPW, village clerk's office, village admin, me, and then 2 board members.
I'll volunteer.
Jeff 1,
Sit on that, too.
Steve 2? All right.
Can I make a request that we coordinate that with the fire chief's schedule so he
After
doesn't have
3
to
p.m.
take off time for that?
No, we have it before 3 p.m.
I called him
He
today.
volunteers a lot of time.
I called him today and
Let's
said,
not dig into his overtime.
when is good for you? And he said, as long as it's after 3, he should be good.
Yeah, we'll arrange that.
Can we make that a condition of a special use permit for a large event, that they come within 30 days after the event to give us a report on their side of things?
Yes.
Is that legit?
Yep.
Okay.
For every special use permit?
No,
Just
large
for-
events.
Like a
Large
major
events.
one.
That's what I'm saying, like, how do we
Yeah.
differentiate?
It could be a
Well,
condition,
just
right?
added condition.
Could be a
We just
condition.
add it as a
Yes.
condition
Yeah. Right.
to that as
To
a particular
to
event.
particular.
I'd like to talk about the fee schedule too, is for these big events.
Yeah.
And the cost to us, so that's something.
Agreed.
For that meeting, whenever we have it, can we get our overtime costs for both DPW and police?
We might also want to talk about movies too when you're doing that fee schedule one permits.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, there was some costs that we did.
They're paying for them, this
They are
one's paying
but
for them.
there's-
Yeah.
There's no set,
I,
you know,
Yeah.
criteria.
I've been
of what
advocating
we're
that for a
charging
while,
for
ever
it.
since we've
Oh.
been talking about having people come into our
You know,
town.
we had police, DPW, Maureen, myself doing stuff during working hours for them, or because of them, and then we had overtime and crew.
2 black, 3
also.
double cream.
Not quite that, I mean, day-old bagels maybe, but, no, but just the process of closing the road, redecorating the street for Christmas, the police work, the time Maureen and I spent in meetings with them and phone calls and everything, it takes up considerable time.
And it's great having them here, and
Oh, absolutely.
we don't necessarily have to charge a flat fee, but I think we should at least recoup the money we spend, the village residents' money, right? that
The
gets
reason
spent on
they
it.
come here is because we don't charge
We're cheap.
much for anything, and a lot of other places do.
Well,
I
that's
don't-
not,
I
that's
don't
not the
think-
only reason.
Wow,
It's a pretty adorable village.
right.
You
But
get
it's a
Peters
big-
an extra?
It's a big, but, and I'm not saying charge them, you know, tens of thousands of dollars unnecessarily, but it should be broken down somewhere in the code of what we can charge them, so we can show them this is what you're gonna recoup.
These are our
or pay
costs.
for,
This is
yeah.
what our true costs are gonna be.
All right, you gonna throw out some dates to the people we discussed, and we'll have our debrief, and see how we can fine tune it. Anything else on F? Second, speakers and communications. Anyone from the public want to speak on any issue? Holly, 2 minutes.
I don't even know if this is when I ask. Holly Maciejewski, 218 Center. But under official considerations for I, where is there a vacant parcel at 0 Pine Street that could accommodate 3 homes?
Pine and Gerard, the Fisher
Oh,
Price
the,
land with the trees.
Yeah. If you go on the village website and look at the agenda, you can see the plans.
Oh, okay, thank you. Sorry.
Sure. Anybody else? All right, closing second speakers and communications, department head report. Pat?
I won't beat Heart to Music to death because we're going to debrief on that. I'll just hit on it quick. We did have assistance from the New York State Police, the Orchard Park Emergency Response Team, and the Cheektowaga Police drones. The event, I believe, went very well for as far as preparation went. The presence was there, the deterrence was there. I don't think anything was big, bad, and scary. I think it was just a well-executed design, and we'll talk more during the debrief. The next thing, Maureen advised me to bring up to your attention. I did ask Jeff to remove some landscaping at the police department / courts. If you recall, there was large bushes that kind of overgrew into the parking lot, scratching people's cars when they parked and things like that. So they ripped out a lot of old bushes and things there that makes the visibility leaving the police department parking lot and pulling onto Main Street better. Now you can see cars coming west from under the viaduct. There's no real signage there that tells people that's the police department other than one small sign on the street there or the court. The only sign is engraved in concrete on the edge of the building at Payne and Main that says Village Offices. So we're in the process of having the Erie County Sign Shop come up with a proof, if you will, of a sign to put where that flower bed was that just signifies that it's the police department and the town court there. Relatively, Jeff's advised me it's a relatively low cost, a couple $100, I guess, through the sign shop. It's not a heavy lift as far as expense goes. I don't know if I need formal approval for that sign or if you want to see the proof of that sign before it gets made. I guess I'm up for somebody to tell me if that needs to happen or whether we can just put the sign up.
I'd like to see a proof.
Do you want your name on it?
Of course.
Okay, just checking. As far as the
Village of
movie,
East Aurora, home of Pete Mercurio. I like that underneath.
well, I was thinking about putting my name on it. Jeff's got his down at the DPW on the little plow, but you know. As far as the movie shoot goes, everything went pretty smooth. They did have a lot of their own security on the Tuesday evening shoot where we had the state permit to close down Main Street, and we did have one police officer there as well. That was for the Carolcade redo. However, Friday night, they did not indicate to us prior that they were going to want to shut the road down. It was supposed to be periodic traffic closure for scenes, and that turned into more of a request to close the road completely. While the traffic was stopped, we did make 2 DWI arrests that night for people that did not follow the guidelines of the road being closed and the police officers standing there. So,
Idiots.
yeah.
Were they in the movie?
I think they scratched that part, but next is at the police department itself. Coming up is our annual outdoor firearms and combination taser training, and Jeff and I did meet with Victoria from the chamber regarding that permit for the sidewalk sale in the kids zone area that she wanted added for Riley Street. And we came up with a good spot that will not have any impact on the businesses there on a Saturday morning. So
Great.
Nice.
we're all set there. And other than that, that's all I have.
Very good, thank you, Pat. Jeff?
Yeah, tomorrow and Wednesday we'll be milling Sycamore Ridge, Martin Drive, and Millard Fillmore Place. We'll be working on those for 2 days, and then we're going to get ready for it for paving, hopefully before July 3rd. It's my goal. We are starting to work on the GoNet speed stumps. We've done ours first, and we're going to get going on those. And I am getting the final figures for Park Place, and I'll have those to you guys next meeting for the water line and curbs.
You think the curbs are driving up the cost? Pretty significantly for park?
Yeah, they both will be, yeah.
Well, thank you, Jeff. Liz?
Nothing tonight.
Shane?
Our quiet pickleball balls have arrived. Would you guys like to try them?
Can't hurt.
So what do you think, Steve? You're the parks guy. Set up a net and one net and put a bunch of balls out there? Don't do it? What?
Well, can't hurt, right?
Yeah.
I mean, are people gonna
Well-
bring their own and say the heck with the quiet balls? I mean, that might be a little bit of a thing, but
I think if people are bringing their own net, they'll probably
Well,
bring their own net.
I'll tell you a story I told the mayor earlier is I know a 17-year-old who was meeting friends at South Street to play pickleball, and some of them got there ahead of time, and the pickleball courts were being used. So blue painter's tape was taken to the tennis courts next door to tape off pickleball court, and that was the plan to use. I guess I didn't have to do that, but if there's courts, if there's nets, something they're probably going to be played on. It sounds like we've heard that they've already done that. People have brought their own nets or played on the tennis courts. So if you would like to try, we could put up a sign that says, please use these balls only if playing pickleball here.
can we say mandatory you use these ones?
Well, when you use the term mandatory, and there's no teeth to back that up, other than having Pat to have the guys take down the net if somebody's not using them. I don't know what the answer is.
What are the chances of them staying around, though?
Well, we can shut it down. That's what the,
Right.
Yeah, well, let's not put them all out there.
When the balls are gone, the net is gone.
If I remember right, wasn't the rec department planning on using the pickleball courts for the summer rec?
I don't think so.
no,
I'm
they
not-
want to
I'm
use
not
the old
sure on that.
basketball.
Yeah, I thought she had
But-
one there.
But they used them last year, right? And they were planning to do that again. What if we have the summer rec kids try those out and see what the impact is? And then just have the net up for summer rec, because that doesn't start until, is that?
End of June, beginning of July,
July,
or
something
after
like
the
that.
3rd or
Yeah.
something like that.
So in like 3 weeks.
And then just try that out and see how it sounds, and then if there's no,
Either way, I mean, we bought them to use, right? I mean,
Yeah, we might as well try
So we
them.
might as well use them one way or another, that way, or put a handful out.
I just
now
worry,
and see if
I worry about them walking.
comply.
So,
Right.
this sounds silly, but I've been advised that there's actually vending machines apparently at these courts, and you can buy balls. So maybe we sell quiet balls there and hold people to only using quiet balls.
Put 'em at-
Yeah, but I don't know how you force them to buy the
Right.
balls there. I mean, if we put them out for free and they can use them, or, we can put a note on the sign that says if regular pickleballs are found to be used, we'll remove the net.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a tough one.
Well, I think we got to try it out.
Yeah.
Because we have to come to some permanent solution here soon.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
Right.
We got to volunteers take car keys when you turn your ball back in to get your car keys back. I think the people that live over there might volunteer.
Deposit, yeah.
Yeah, how do you keep them there? That's the thing.
So Jeff, I just talked, I asked Megan Tent from the
Oh, yeah.
rec department about, they do not use the pickleball courts at Hamlin.
Oh, okay.
Thanks, Liz. I was texting her as well.
So what are we doing? I've heard different ideas.
Put them out with a sign and a basket, and my concern would be they're gonna disappear in a week. But
Well, then we'll talk about it at the next meeting. I mean, then we'll
Yeah,
know.
all right. Jeff, we'll do that.
We got the police camera there, right? You got
Yeah.
Put one, put one up.
Don't tell them that.
I mean, it's sharp, an image, the
All right, in fairness, the people stealing pickleballs are not watching this on
Pretty
YouTube.
clear. You could probably see it.
We'll put a bike patrol over there.
All right, we'll try that. And just what I already spoke about with the movie. I think everything went fairly well except for Pat's issues on the Friday night. But It was a neat experience. Maureen thoroughly enjoyed it.
I love a Hallmark movie.
Thank you, Shane. Maureen?
I cry every time.
See?
No way.
Me too, all 0 times.
What if they don't end up together at the end?
They always do.
So ABC.
Maureen?
Well, they did record a scene from the movie in the clerk's office, so that was super exciting for us. They did come and spend time in the office. They are paying for, it was my time, so you guys are getting like a discount on me or something. I don't know. They're paying for any time beyond 4 o'clock that I was there. We are
To the village, not to you directly.
No, not to me.
Clarify.
I don't get paid any extra for that. Taxes are out. Residents should have them. They are due July 1st. The year end is being worked on, getting everything done so that when our auditors come in July, we're ready for that. That's what's going on in my office.
Thank you. All right. Steve?
Not much. I did talk to Jeff about the park. I guess we made that pathway from the little parking lot next to the baseball diamond that leads back to that pad that we kept from the old basketball court. Made it look a little too much like a road because there's people driving and parking.
Come
on
on.
that pad to take their kids to the playground. So I just asked that we reinstate some kind of a gate or
Bollard or something
Bollard.
there, yeah.
and
Good idea.
Jeff said he'd figure something out.
Good idea, Steve. All right, you good?
Yeah.
Kristen?
Nothing tonight, thanks.
Very good. Jeffrey?
All good, thank you.
Okay, Molly?
Good.
Molly, you're going to get us, where did we leave off on,
I sent it to Maureen, the stuff about the sign.
yeah, the
I
lights?
I forwarded it to
Crosswalk?
Maureen.
Okay. With the cost and everything, but Shane, didn't you say something, we would need some sort of permission to put that up because it's a state/county road?
Yeah, the DOT would have to approve it, and they might want to install it. They might have standards and everything.
Yeah.
Well, I thought the safety committee was going to look at it first to even see if it's something that we were interested in, and that would be step 2, right? Yeah.
Our safety committee.
I forwarded it to Maureen.
I was just gonna look at the grant stuff for it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said I was going to forward it to everybody, but when she asked me for it, I thought that was the
Okay,
trigger.
I'll forward it out. That's okay.
So
Okay.
Molly, do you want the safety committee to review it?
I would.
Are you thinking just on Seneca Street, or are you thinking all cross points, or what?
I would be open to where they're I mean, if we were going to try one, I guess my question would be to the safety committee, if we were going to do one, where do you think it would be best utilized?
All right, so you guys can look at that for the next meeting?
We'll come up with some priority spots.
Yeah,
And then,
A, if you think it's a good idea, and B, if it is, where would you want it?
yeah, and I'll reach out and see what other agencies have such a thing currently. We can maybe take a look at and see how it's working, and then we come out, and then obviously narrow it down to cost and affordability, feasibility.
And the one I have is just a sample of one, so you guys might know of, or have come across other ones that are better, or whatever.
You said it's solar powered, right? So
Yeah.
it wouldn't even need electricity.
Well, what we've run into with the surveillance trailer is because we are in a cold weather climate that does experience a lot of snow, the solar isn't always guaranteed. So we'll have to see, what the feasibility of our area is for having just solar, or if we'd have solar with maybe electric backup or.
Yeah, I don't know if,
batteries?
I don't know if there's backup batteries or not in this one.
Yeah, that would be, the location would make a
Right.
big difference too, because if there's a lot of large trees in the area blocking the sun, and depending on how much
Right.
input those lights would take, it might not be.
Maureen, I'm going to be on the road tomorrow. Will you forward that?
Yep, I will.
Okay, thanks. Maureen's going to send it out.
Anything else, Molly?
No, I'm
Very
good. Thank you for circling back on that.
Grace?
I don't want to talk about music because you guys are going to have a debrief, but I do want to give a huge shout out to the fire department. Between Jameson Road and East Aurora Fire Department, we had 35 total volunteers for the day. Great showing of them. It's really nice to see them out there.
Were there any major
Agreed.
injuries or incidents that you're
No,
aware of?
I think we did pretty good.
Good.
There was maybe three calls,
Yeah,
right? Mostly dehydration.
mostly dehydration.
I mean, the numbers being down, I'm sure are part of it, but I think their idea to have the screen fencing to discourage tailgaters, just people who don't contribute to the charities and just show up and drink their own beer, so they don't contribute to the venues either. I think the screen fencing so they couldn't see the bands probably helped. And,
I left the fire department at 11:30 and just drove all of Main Street, and it was probably quieter than a regular Saturday night on this end. It was
Yeah.
pretty cool.
No.
Other end a little bit.
Yeah, that was the other thing, is the bars, moving it to 1 to 9, I'm sure helped also.
Yeah.
And getting rid of that cesspool on North Willow.
Mm-hmm.
By
It was
fencing
odd.
off the street.
After 10, 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
Driving by and seeing stools on the.
I mean, that's
Bar.
what I like.
All
I like that
Yeah.
Music Fest is a daytime
I
event.
think it is a daytime
It
thing.
was great.
You just run into a lot less issues.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. You want to say anything about it?
Okay. All right, thank you, Grace. Yeah, that was my thing, it's just how much we appreciate the police department, including the state and State Police, Cheektowaga and Orchard Park, but especially our EAPD guys, giving up so much time to help run that event. The fire department, I mean, they're not even getting paid. They're volunteers, and they're coming out for it. Even if it frustrates them, they still showed up. So really appreciate the fire department, DPW, and all the hard work you guys do, Jeff, as well as our code office, who I bumped into during the day on Saturday, out there working hard as well. So thanks to all four groups just to help make it happen. It does raise a lot of money for charity, all local charities, raise it and helps the venues out as well. And I know from everyone I talk to, and pretty much everyone I talk to who lives here also really enjoys the event as well. So as controversial as it is, and as much time consuming as it is trying to make sure we get it right, all the tweaks, all the restrictions, the guardrails we have to put in, I think there is a way to do it right. And I think that was a pretty good example. I think we still could have handled a few more thousand people and still had a safe, organized event like we did. So thanks to everybody who played a part in that, including the trustees who spent a lot of time as well, wrestling over how to execute it. All right, that's it. Can I get a motion to adjourn at 8:28 PM? Moved by Steve, second.
Second.
Second by Jeff for the discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for coming.
Well, Stiffy, huh?
Who? Oh.